Welcome to another bonus segment of Get Geeky with Kiki. Today is a quick film review where I'm joined by my Mission Spooky hosts, Cord and JC, as we attempt to entertain you by tackling 3 different films in 30 minutes or less. This is Kiki. We have JC and Cord with us today, and our episode today is fantasy movies. 3 different fantasy movies. Is there any preference before we get started? Do you care who goes first?
I don't give a shit.
Cord, do you want to go first this time? Because you went last.
Sure.
And it's fresh in your memory. Cord, what fantasy film did you choose for this assignment?
I watched Willow.
Yay!
It's the first time I watched this movie.
Oh my god! We should have had a watch party.
All of the movies that I chose for these so far I have not watched. So is my timer going?
Go!
Okay. Willow is a LucasArts film directed by Ron Howard. It's currently on Disney Plus. That's how I watched it. It has Val Kilmer in it, which I did not know going into the movie, and Warwick Davis. So it's about some evil queen, and she's killing all the baby girls in her kingdom because there's some kind of prophecy. Mom helps her baby escape and floats her down the river and then dies. And Warwick Davis's character's children find it by the river. And then they go on a happy adventure to get the kid to safety because, evil army chasing down baby. I do not remember what they called the little people or the normal humans. I know they had different names for them.
Peck! Get out of the way, Peck!
Yes, that's the one. Peck. There's a whole bunch of wee lads and lasses.
Little people.
Warwick Davis wanted to be a sorcerer, and they had this crazy-eyed sorcerer guy, and he's like one of my favorite characters in the movie. He feels very Radagast to me. They send him on a journey, and he meets up with Val Kilmer's character, who is very cool. There's a lot of sexually explicit jokes going on around Val Kilmer's character that I did not expect to see on Disney Plus, of all places.
I don't remember any of those. I must watch this movie again.
There was a part where, he was legitimately having a conversation with this woman in her bedroom about, you need to dress up as this woman and get out before my husband gets home. And
Oh, yeah.
There was a whole bunch of those. Someone made a comment to him while he was in the dress, and he pretty much made a joke about he still has a dick and it still works just fine. I was like, whoa, okay. So, music was great. Camera work was obviously good. It's LucasArts. They don't mess a lot of stuff. I will say, the entirety of the movie, even if you hate the entirety of the movie, it's worth it for the last fight scene. The entire last battle is so cool to me. With the way they did it, it essentially becomes 2 old witches fighting with magic while there's a bunch of people sword fighting outside. And it's exactly what I wanted it to be, and it was great. I'm going to give this movie, again, a solid A, because I'm picking good ones.
Yeah.
I think the last scene is worth the movie even if you're bored of the entire movie up to that point. I think the climax of the movie will make it work.
So I think we accidentally started a trend with this particular episode because you going first, Willow is from the 80s. JC, yours is from the 90s. So you should go next because mine's from 2000s.
That sounds terrific. And like you said, my movie's from 1996, and my movie happens to be the one, the only, the most amazing Dragonheart. Dragonheart came out 1996, June 2nd, and its opening weekend was $15 million. Now, this is 96, okay? So you already know this is a big deal. $15 million. No one had $15 million in 96.
Are you just reading IMDb page?
Shut up. So Dragonheart, I watched it as a kid, and it's probably the movie that got me into a love of fantasy, especially Arthurian, King Arthur-esque fantasy.
Arthurian.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
What the hell?
You guys know I'm mostly
illiterate, yes.
Anyway, it has some heavy-hitting actors from the 90s in it, including Dennis Quaid and Sean Connery. And I would say this is Sean Connery's best role because he wasn't even in it. He just did the voicing for a fucking dragon that still in 2001 or 2021 looks great. And I would say it rivals those wyverns that are in Game of Thrones, not real dragons. Learn what a fucking dragon is. But yeah, it looks fantastic. The fact that this movie came out in 96 and what they were able to do with the dragon, it blows my mind. I watched it today. It looked fantastic. I've seen movies within the last 2-3 years that have come out that their dragons look like garbage. This guy, he felt real. And the dragon's name is Draco. But yeah, Draco felt real. Sean Connery did the voice acting for him. And the story follows a knight who is trying to go around and murder all the dragons in the world. And he ends up befriending the last one. And they become best buds and con artists together. And it's just a wild adventure. And they stop it. Wait, that gets into spoilers. Ha ha ha. Caught myself.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. But they go on adventures. They don't rescue any princesses. But Dragonheart, there's now 5 Dragonheart movies. One of them came out last year. And I'm going to go on a Dragonheart watching spree over the next couple weeks because I want to know how bad these other movies are, because Dragonheart 2 came out in like 2001 and then it's 2015. I'm like, how was there a 14-year gap? All around, great movie. Highly recommend. A+, good family film.
I actually really like this movie too.
I've never watched it.
Oh, it's really good, Cord. I recommend.
It's very worth it.
I've probably had it on my list of things to watch for like 10 years now.
I mean, it's definitely a little like cheesy, but it's definitely worth watching.
It's cheesy, but in a very cute way.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable.
I had to sit through like 4 Val Kilmer fucking cheesy love line scenes today, all right? I don't think it's going to bother me that much.
All right, so my movie is the 2002 dragon film Reign of Fire, directed by Rob Bowman of, wait for it, Star Trek The Next Generation, X-Files, Elektra, Castle, and one of my very old favorites, VR5. I know there's people out there that have seen that and will remember it, among a slew of other projects. So Bowman is extremely talented director.
Gadzooks.
Yeah. A fantastic cast. You got Christian Bale, Matthew McConaughey, Gerard Butler, Alexander Siddig, Alice Krieg. Those two are from where? Next Generation, and Alexander Siddig is from DS9. And you had, lastly, Isabella Scorupco, who some of you may have known as the Bond girl in GoldenEye.
Ugh.
This was a fun summer movie where the dragons were scary as shit, and you just didn't know who was going to make it out alive. Alice Krieg plays a geologist/miner that accidentally awakens sleeping dragons under the streets of London while her son, Quinn, is with her for a very bad mother and son day at work. 20 years later, Bale plays the older Quinn, now the surrogate father to a bunch of kids who have lost their families due to dragons, and he's sort of the de facto leader of a small community of folks in rural England trying to eke out an existence while the dragons burn everything to ash. Not having heard from anyone in other countries for quite some time, Quinn has his life turned upside down when an American pilot, Von Zant, played by Matthew McConaughey, shows up with an aircraft and a way to kill the dragons. Some of the best parts in this film is the banter between two men as they vie for supremacy. One bent on saving the lives of the next generation, and one bent on killing dragons so the next generation can thrive. You will see both points of view and I think empathize with both characters on different levels. Father and warrior, nurturer and destroyer. Watch as these things blend into one cohesive force to be reckoned with. I absolutely love these guys working together. Bale and McConaughey just played off each other brilliantly. And it's kind of funny how Gerard Butler is also in the movie. The dragons in this film mean business. And honestly, I think this portrayal of mythic beasts entering a present-day world is extremely well done. Everything is destroyed. No one can escape the fires. Everything is dirty and black and ash-covered. It's very serious. Today, the only film series I think that comes close to this level of destruction is the new Godzilla films. I gave Reign of Fire a B+. There are some parts that are going to be pretty predictable. And honestly, no offense to Scorupco, but anyone Any one female could have played that character and it would have changed nothing. She was unfortunately not very interesting to me in this movie. The real parts of this movie are McConaughey and Bale. That's perfectly all right with me. I did the thing.
Wow.
That wraps up this episode. Our 3 fantasy films that we chose for this week. Read all the things, watch all the things, and good luck on your dice rolls.